Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday. I'm going to get it right. Tuesday, October 14th, 2024. Turn it. Literally, I've been getting the date right for months now, and I literally messed up the year today. But it is October 14th, 2025, and you were in the Java Cafe this morning. Thank you for being here. It is Testimony Tuesday, and I am extremely excited to get ready to speak with a young woman whose episode has literally, I can confidently say months, but it might be a couple of years that this has been in the planning. And so I want to publicly apologize to her. But even in our pre-convo, I realize, and I tell my guests, I've had past experience that when it's taken a while for certain guests, and when that time happens, the timing is everything. And so I'm excited to have this young lady in the room with us today. I have known her, seen her around for many, many years. I believe it's her niece or her sister used to run around with my sisters back with the group back in the days from Madison Park. Her aunt, her uncle, I have benefited from being around a lot of her family. You can't say or bring up this family's name for us old heads from Madison without talking about Miss Moses. So there's just so much that I know about this young lady, but yet still learning. And one of the intents today is to speak to not just women, but especially women, but just to us as a society about being seen, about how we present ourselves, about there's just so much flair that this young lady has that's a part of her. And so I'm looking forward to presenting to some and introducing to others Miss Ieasha James. Now, she is a businesswoman. This is Small Business Month, and you'll see the correlation of Endless Flair, which is her business, along with self-care. But we're here today to talk about the flair before and after you see what she does. And I should have had some videos queued up because she's local, she's regional, she's national and international. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Java Cafe, the Ieasha James. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. That was a great introduction.
Listen, coming from you, Ieasha, that means a lot because, again, I said, messaging, presentation and things like that. So right now, my right foot is shaking because I want to make sure that we do well with this interview today. And so, first of all, thank you because your red is popping. I really appreciate that. And the aesthetics on my screen here are just wonderful. DJ Mastermind just jumped on IG and said she's a powerhouse. So we're probably going to have a lot of comments today, but I'll go to them after. But welcome to the Java Cafe. As I said, this has been years in the making. Well, a year, months, you can probably tell me because
a couple of years. You were right. I'm glad you covered all the bases though, but yes. But timing is everything.
Timing is definitely everything. And so with that, I want to be sensitive that you are a businesswoman. And there's so much that I want to extract from you because I believe when I have folks in the cafe like yourself, I'm going to get every drop out the cup that you can give to the people. So first of all, please go ahead and say good morning to the folks. And I want to ask you to describe, I know I had a note, but in real time, I'm going to ask you after your introduction, give us one word for your observation of how we as a society, Black folks, how whatever context you want to frame it, how we're handling ourselves when it comes to our self-care. So your intro and morning and one word, we'll get the context, and then we're going to jump right into so much because, again, there's a lot to talk about today.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Jimmy, again for having me. My name is Ieasha James. I am the CEO, the founder, and the director of Endless Flair Events, which is a design firm here in Boston, Massachusetts. Not sure if you've seen my work before, but I create immersive installations for corporate and social clients. How do I think we are handling self-care as a people, as Black people today? I think we're more aware, and I know it's one word. I think we're more aware, but I believe that we have more work to do. So I would say my word is becoming.
Okay, I like that. I like that. And so it's a good, I love when my guests give answers, and it's a good segue into the next question. So, I've had the opportunity to see you becoming throughout the years. And
Mhm.
so for people that don't know and they see the flair, you have a great balance of presenting yourself and understanding social media, but they may not see and may not know the journey to the story of how you've gotten here. And so respectfully, who is Ieasha? Who is Ieasha?
Ieasha is layered, and I do not believe we have enough time to talk about who Ieasha truly is, right? And
Okay.
it depends on what form. However, I am a mother, I am a believer, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. I am sometimes a therapist because I love mental health, so I'm an advocate for it. I love community. I love to sit on the beach. I love to listen to old school music. I love karaoke. And I just love, honestly, being Black. I mean, for me, again, I'm layered. So if we talk about something specific, if we're talking about mental health and me being an advocate, the reason why I'm an advocate for mental health is because a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD. In high school, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. So that is one whole component of who I am and what I'm learning about myself and want to normalize the conversation about mental health, especially for our people, because it's frowned upon. And if it's not something that is physical, it really doesn't exist. And we can go on about the struggles that I've had. So, yes, you see that I'm a creative and I'm able to create masterpieces for people. But nobody really understands the day to day since I was a young girl who struggled with academics. And since I have dyslexia in terms of reading comprehension, a lot of that was very difficult. I would shy away from even doing things like this, like an interview or reading out loud or whatever it looked like, because the words are backwards and all of the thing, like all the letters are jumbled and just really not comprehending. So I've dealt with that my entire life. And it wasn't until 2 years ago I was diagnosed with ADHD from my therapist, my Black therapist. I love to say that. So we talk about self-care. Therapy is one of those things for me. And I've done every type of therapy to get past traumas. And we're always healing. That's a forever journey, right? It never ends. However, I've done EMDR therapy, talk therapy, hypnosis.
Tell us, Miss Therapist that moves in this space, and I know government medicine, I moved in both and
Ooh,
understand acronyms, but tell us what EM, please. Can you tell us what that acronym you use for
I
therapy?
honestly don't know, but I can tell you, well, I can't remember.
Okay.
However, I can tell you what it is.
What
So
and what it does. Come on here.
what it does. So it's very similar to hypnosis. What I've done was light therapy. So what they do is like wave a light in front of you. And the idea is to get you in a meditative state where you can get to the trauma. So for me, it is my younger self. So you can get to that point and you can see your younger self and figure out where the trauma started to heal that. That was the starting point for me. What really transformed me to be able to see myself in the future was hypnosis. I did hypnosis last year up until January this year. And I can promise you, it was the first time in my entire life. I am 44. It was the first time in my entire life that I was able to see myself in the future. I've always lived in the now because I never felt like there was enough. So why plan for the future? I knew that I wanted things, and God, my faith is very heavy. So God always reigned, and I knew I was meant for more, but I could never see it. Not until now where I can see what is possible for myself. And that was really hypnosis that helped with that.
It's interesting, and some people I know that, you talk about the taboo of mental health and you talk about some things that we may not indulge in because of culture, but I've often referred that I've had the opportunity to work for two of the world's top psychosomatic psychiatrists, Dr. Theodore Stern. And I remember, I don't think I'm breaking any HIPAA laws, I remember him being referred to and patients coming into his office for hypnosis around
Mhm.
smoking, around different things like that. So I want us to, as you said, one of the points, and I don't know if you use the exact word, but demystify some of the ways in which we address our mental health. So one, thank you for your transparency. Thank you for also starting to my next question. You referred to some of your journey. what you had to deal with being a young girl, and then 30 years ago, you talk about the awareness, and we're becoming in mental health. It wasn't a lot that was talked about.
No.
You said that there were times that. So how did that contribute to your journey? Tell us other parts that you would like to share where you're comfortable of your journey, because I think it's important for the audience to see and understand this. What we see today, the wonderfulness of you, didn't happen by osmosis.
It
This
didn't.
has been a journey. And so tell us. I'm so curious to hear, and then we'll talk about kind of the how you became this businesswoman and managing being a mom. And go ahead. So a little bit more of the story where you're comfortable, and then we got some more stuff to cover.
Well, it's been a journey of faith. Faith is my foundation. I was raised in the church every Saturday, Sunday when we're at my grandmother's house. God rest her soul. We had to attend church, everything. So my foundation is God. If I did not have God in my life, honestly, I wouldn't be here now. So as I said, as a young child, I struggled a lot in school, understanding myself, being impulsive, always creative, growing up in Black households, unlike my son now, although I'm Black, growing up in Black households, a lot of things are disrespectful, being opinionated, saying anything, right? Disobeying. And a lot of that honestly affected me because I didn't understand why I did act the way I did, why I couldn't remember things, or why I was impulsive, or why I had so many negative thoughts that told me something different than what I knew about myself. Although there was trauma, there were other things where there was joy, but I didn't feel joy. But there was always this burning desire inside of me to do more, to be more, to never accept where I was at. And I can honestly say that was God speaking to me, that he has so much more for me. And if I just kept showing up every day, that he would bring me to this point. And I know he's still not done. I know I'm thinking so small compared to what he has for me. But I worked in healthcare for 17 years. I quit in 2020, just because, a lot of racism and things like that. And I'm vocal, I'm an advocate. That's how we get to Endless Flair. But this journey in terms of mental health and the struggle, it is still a struggle today. I'm just more aware. With the diagnosis, I've been able to research more, talk about it more in therapy. I'm an open book, so you can ask me anything and I'm going to tell you. So therapy has always been easy for me. I've been in therapy since I was 19. However, I am very strong in a lot of areas. I am confident in a lot of areas, but there were certain areas that I was struggling in, and they just couldn't see it. They couldn't see it until this is my 5th therapist, and she is amazing. She is the one that diagnosed me. And honestly, it's been a game changer for me. So when I quit 2020, I've been doing Endless Flair full time.
Hold on. Let's just cite that you quit during the pandemic, but go ahead.
Right before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic.
Yep.
And but God, because that's where endless in-home dining was birthed, right? You couldn't have events in venues or whatever it was. Okay, so let's create intimate events in people's homes, up to 12 people, and transform wherever they were supposed to go. Some people were supposed to go to Jamaica, Paris, whatever. We just transformed their space into wherever they were supposed to be. I absolutely love in-home dinings. So that's
Can I ask you one quick superficial question on that? During 2020, I think it was AP or Conan. They posted a picture of, I don't know whose birthday it was, but monogram cups, the flowers, and what was that?
That was Conan's birthday.
And you did it?
I do all their events. Well, most of them, not all. But
Right. So I just needed to, because I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Ooh, AP went in like this was kind of dope," and not knowing at the time. And so one naming that you started in 2020 and started with in-home. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt your journey. Go ahead.
No, you're not interrupting. I love this.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
I love
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
But it's not, Endless Flair didn't start in 2020. Let me be very honest. It started in 2014.
Okay.
It started in 2014 and it sat on the back burner. But it started in 2014 just because I knew I had this gift. I've done it for family, friends, Everyone tends to fall into this industry. But I did it for family, friends. This is what I was called to do. I was working at the hospital and I knew I was missing that creative spark. So I applied to a design firm and I was turned down, right? Not because of my talent, but because I didn't have a degree. As we talked about, I struggled in school, which it made me dislike school. I love to learn. I love to learn. I love to learn about the brain, about how life works, how people work. But I struggled. So it made me feel like I didn't want to go to college because I wouldn't do well, right? That's what I told myself back then. But that may change coming soon. But it started back then. Then I had my son in 2015. Fast forward all the way to 2019. I was out of the job, severely depressed because of the job and me making myself a target because I spoke up for everyone that was dealing with injustices. And so I was out on the job. And then they posted the position because I was in management. I was in management. So my job's not protected after 3 months. And I could have gone back because I was there 17 years. Right? But God said, I posted the job, I eliminated the job, and you're still not understanding that I have something for you, right? So what is it going to take? And in that moment, that's when I decided to, in 2020, step out on faith. And that's why I like to say Endless Flair really was birthed there because I put my all into it since 2020. And we are here because of that.
I wish I had an organist here today, just to give us a little, just a little, because you preaching here, and not to make light, but it's so important. And I know there are a lot of people that are watching and going to watch that have seen you in community. Hey, Ieasha, da 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 da. But the transparency and how you're leaning in to the flair of your self-care and the journey, I think is going to be helpful to so many people. One thing that I know about you, and you mentioned a little bit about your son, and please, where you want to, talk about, your other roles as a mom, a business owner. Real Boston Media was in and made the comment about a therapist, interesting, a therapist, a designer. You've probably done some fashion consulting and things. And so there are other parts of you that you have. I know that you have non-negotiables to be able to, as best as possible, function in the multiplicity and the balance of those spaces. And so if I can pry and you be a little more helpful to the people, generally, what are some of your non-negotiables? Because I'm on that journey. I was around Jaylen Brown recently. That exuded from him, Ieasha, that there are certain things that are just non-negotiable, and people may not understand it, they may not respect it, you may be disliked for it, but I'm moving in that space, and so I'm intentional, not just for the audience. They're wonderful, thank y'all. Hi. But I'm and I could talk to you, about this, and I probably will follow up, Miss Therapist.
I am
What
not
what are your non-negotiables?
Ooh, they're simple but sacred, honestly. I choose peace over chaos, right? That's important. I have very strong boundaries. Alignment over opportunity. I understand, like, when I walk into a room, the presence that I bring, and if it feels off, I'm leaving, right? So my boundaries are strong. My discernment is strong. But for me, it's peace over everything. I can't do lying, right? I can deal with faults, like you fell short here, right? And you admitting you fell short, because we all do. But if you lie, there is something within me that honestly doesn't know how to accept you back in my space. And I can read that. I can read it before people tell me. That is a gift, honestly. It's a gift, one, because of my brain, but I think also, if you believe in horoscopes or anything like that, astrology, I am a Pisces. Right? So I'm extremely intuitive. But God resides in me, and I pray a lot for discernment, because I'm very careful about the places that I go and the people that I have around me. And if it just doesn't align, I know how to remove myself. That comes from boundary setting, and that comes from doing a lot of personal development, a lot of healing. One thing I can say about my family, we are all strong-willed. They are all strong. It's like that. Like we are all that way. I mean, I still have a little bit, that God's working on with me because of like facials and things, right? But we are all strong-willed and very sure of who we are.
Yeah.
So for anyone navigating that space, one, you have to know who you are, or you'll become anything. You will become a chameleon in any room. You will feel like you do not belong in those spaces. I know I belong in every single space that God opens up for me. And I'm very peaceful. Even though I have all these things going on in my brain, 20,000 tabs open at a time, I am peaceful. I'm peaceful by myself, and I'm peaceful around the people that I love.
I got a little bit distracted. I'm going to be intentional and sidebar for a minute in the comments because I knew that this was going to be inspirational to people. Someone that you know, and she's been on and been very public about her. And I want to talk about these unseen. And if you don't mind, after this, lean a little bit more into your intentionality around being public around the diagnosis of ADHD and also dyslexia. But Erin Davis, who you know from the Davis system, is in the room. And she said, Ieasha drove me to the vineyard back in August. One of the I don't know. That was here. I heard something. I'm sorry. Ieasha drove me to the vineyard back in August, and one of the most inspirational and inspiring conversations I have had in a very long time. She poured so much into my cup. Love you, sis. And then she goes on to say, also, Jimmy, you can't interrupt people with ADHD. We consider it active listening, and you're adding in your.
So I love Erin. I love her. And I am so proud of her for even saying that she had it. We did have this conversation about ADHD. And a lot of people slide in my DMs because I talk about it and they're embarrassed, and I hold space.
I understand where you are, and I also want to give space to and I know this isn't you, but I have to do it if at any point we need to take a commercial or whatever. And but yeah,
Absolutely.
you're in a moment of realized impact beyond the visuals. We can jump in church here right real quick. Go ahead, Ieasha.
Yeah, I hold space. I hold space for everyone that has people around them that do not think mental health is serious or ADHD is a real thing, because we present so well. We're able to accomplish a lot of things, but nobody understands what's happening in the body or how much energy you have to exert to even do a simple task, right? Nobody understands that. As I heard, you're being lazy. You're not trying hard enough. You can do this, right? And my son has ADHD. And to be a parent with a child with ADHD, now I have given my mother grace, right? Because it is not tough. I mean, not easy at all. But I speak up so much. I advocate for people that have ADHD and dyslexia, not only for myself, but my son, right? I had to advocate for him through private school. Now he's in an independent school. He is thriving and he has his own struggles, just so he can understand that his brain is a superpower. And if we are all made in God's image, how is anything truly wrong with us? So what I'll tell you is people that have ADHD are the change makers. We are the creatives. The majority of creatives have ADHD. And that's intentional, right? That is intentional. God gave us this brain. Even autistic people, they're magical. And if we could live in a world where everyone just accepted everybody else's differences, imagine how much happier we would be. And so again, thank you, Erin. And it was my pleasure to seed into you. And I only talk about my journey. Again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not here as a professional. I'm here as a human who has life experiences, and understanding my assignment is bigger than me. And anything that I have gone through, I'm willing to share regardless what comes with it in the future, I am willing to share because it was never about me. There are people that commit suicide every single day because they are not strong enough to just withstand. This is constant work. And I have times when I just wanted to give up. I've been passive suicidal, right? Never suicidal like attempt, but passive suicidal where I just didn't want to be here for a whole year. I was mad that I woke up every single day. So nobody understands that. And when I talk a lot about God because I promise you, I would not be here or be able to talk about this in the way that I am if God was not walking beside me daily. Daily. Even as an entrepreneur, it's so difficult, but it's worth it when you bet on yourself.
I you refer and you're honest about not being a therapist, and I'm about to be as red as this hat because I had full intentionality in knowing that the audience would gain some things today, but I'm listening to you and I've wondered, Ma, you remember my mother's watching, you remember that,
Mhm.
the teachers, we thought it was, the sugar, James is hyper, and whatnot. And I often thought that had I got in front of someone, would I
Mhm.
be diagnosed as a child?
Mhm.
My best friend of many years sat here one day and watched me in real time on the phone, texting, saying one thing that made me think of another. And he was like, yo, bro, you think you might have? And this was it. Aisha, this was within the past year. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so I feel seen today. Um, that thing about creatives do have a lot of very unique abilities. I
Mhm.
don't, the Independent Living Center gave me permission to say people with disabilities because you're putting the person first. But I've always said this unique ability, and you're even affirming that there because hearing the references to the 20 tabs open in your mind at one time, hearing one statement, um, Aaron knows because we'll be on the phone and I'll say one thing and she goes into 10, she'll say one thing and I go into 15. And
Mhm.
so it hearing this correlation between being a creative and I just really feel seen today in hearing so much of what you're saying and not knowing that and I know I'm not the only one, but there's so much that's being you're helping me
Mm.
as a creative and so I'm sorry I had to deviate there because I just had to be very honest. Yeah, there I'm walking away with a lot.
Struggle, even interrupting, not always being able to stare someone in the eye because you need to pay attention so your eyes wander. And they can say something and it triggers another thought and another thought. And yeah, it's so much that goes on with it. But I'd like to also put out there that ADHD presents different in women than men. And women, a lot of the time, we're misdiagnosed possibly with anxiety versus ADHD. And we know that ADHD can trigger anxiety and depression, but they're not standalone diagnoses. It can trigger that because you can think yourself into something. However, women are misdiagnosed or diagnosed late in life because we are not hyper in our bodies. Boys are diagnosed a lot easier and earlier because you guys are hyper in your brain and in your body. So you see it. But for us, now our nervous system has shut down and we put all this pressure and this perfection on us because it's all in our brain. We don't present, so nothing's wrong with us.
So, I get this. So we both worked in medicine, so you're going to get this correlation here.
Yeah.
Talk about misdiagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, and we need to look at, is there any correlation between the increased amount of Black women diagnosed with lupus versus, because when you talk about with all due respect, well, sis, I'll say sis,
Yes.
because you're a
Yes.
woman and I don't want to say girl, but
Yes. That's a good one. I'm going to actually write that down because we forget things too, right? Because I'm going to research it.
I did just when you said that, Ieasha, somebody needs to do a research study on that because are they diagnosing our Black women with lupus and then giving them the meds
Mm.
versus and it is real. We don't want to take away from real diagnosis, but then
Mhm.
are some women? Is it now become easier to diagnose with lupus versus you might have ADHD, some behavioral skills, maybe a psychopharm to help with that, and then it's not.
Yes. 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 But that's why we need to take initiative for our own health care. And when one doctor doesn't listen, you get another doctor, and you get another doctor, and you do your own research. And I know right now with the state of the world and health insurance, it's not always easy, but there are books out there for you to learn more. I am a junkie for looking up how the brain works, what's happening in my body. I look up everything. I don't care. And then I'm going to the doctor, and they're going to do every test possible. And I know that's also difficult because they just push us off as if we're not really in pain or we're thinking these things. No, I absolutely know these things are happening to me. And so I push. Like for 2 years, I was losing weight and nobody knew why. Had cancer tests, all these tests for 2 whole years, and they couldn't figure it out. One day it switched. I said, you know what? I was depressed and you missed it. I was depressed and you missed it.
Talk about accountability and health equity. God damn.
Yep. Yep. So we have to advocate for ourselves, regardless how difficult it is. Advocate for our children. I mean, my son knows. I've pulled him out of schools. Now we have whole communities. What are we doing? Every other child, that's great. But what are we doing about my child? Because these are the things that he needs. So how are we helping him thrive? And we just have to, take up space as we do well. Understand that we are the magic. We are the magic. Take up space. Your voice matters. You have brilliance in your bones. And do not shrink. Do not shrink for people or systems that were never created to see you anyway. Keep taking up space. Keep taking up space.
So you talked a few minutes ago. I have a couple of last questions. You talked a few minutes ago about not being a therapist and things like that, but and you also mentioned that you may, go back to school. Have you ever thought about like being a life coach or a licensed mental health clinician?
Look at God. So yes, I feel like I was supposed to be. So I coach people that are breaking into my industry, but look at God. Just on
Ieasha,
Friday, I called my sister and I said, you know what? I coach people that are breaking into my industry because I understood what it felt like when nobody helped me. Right?
In industry, yes. Come on.
I said, nobody helped me. So I said, when I got to a certain level, I'm going to create the blueprint and I'm going to tell them everything they need to know to start. There was a revelation just last week, and I called my sister and I said, I don't even like the systems on the back end for business. I hate them. I outsource everything. I hate it. So if I can't give people every single piece of the business that they need to succeed, I shouldn't be doing this. I said, but I start with mental health in every coaching session. Anyone that I've ever coached can tell you it all starts with where you are mentally, because if you are not good mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you will not be successful. 90% of that is who you are and how I can help you become who you were called to be. And I said to my sister, I think I'm supposed to be doing life coaching outside of coaching people specifically for the event industry. That was a real conversation last week.
Really so and take it a little bit further where I thought it was going to go was that, the industry, you don't like the back systems in there. Also, let's just be intentional and name the fact that you don't like that the subcontractors you employ and help other wonderful women-owned, Black-owned businesses. So that is that
part. I'm talking about billing, administration, understanding every single part of the computer. Now, in terms of my design and managing my vendors, because I have the vision. This is what everyone needs to understand. I have the vision. I come up with the design. I sit with each vendor to execute my vision. It's always my vision, because I think there's some confusion sometimes that my vendors design my events. They don't. They are creatives. They are amazing. They are my team. I absolutely love them. Everything that you have seen from me, I have designed myself. So I do not mind managing them. I don't want to manage the back end stuff. I don't want to do the billing and the CPA and the accounting and all of those things. I don't want to do the lead gen. I want to talk to people. right? I want to talk to people. I can bring in the
Oh
business.
my God. Sorry. That all I want to do is talk to people. Come on here. Sorry.
So yes.
I'm sorry. You see my propensity to probably would have been diagnosed. Two people with this is can be good.
Yeah. You need neurotypical people for people with ADHD. You do. You need someone around you that is neurotypical because you have the vision, you have the ideas, but they have the execution. Like I like to, oh, my son's pen. I actually had this here so I can explain it a little bit.
Oh,
You have
Jesus.
a neurotypical person. They have a thought, they have an action, one thought. You have an ADHD person. This is my son's pen. You have an ADHD person. You have a thought every minute, trying to execute all at the same time. Nothing comes out. And that's when paralysis happens. So you can't have too many ADHD people trying to work at the same time on the same thing.
Time out. You said that's when
Paralysis. I'm sure you've thought so much because your brain is working overtime. So sometimes you're like, I didn't even do anything. Why do I feel so tired? Because your brain is working so hard. And now you're paralyzed. You know what you're supposed to do, but you just can't do it. You've paralyzed yourself from trying to do all the things at one time. It's just how your brain works.
Okay. You about to get up off my screen, Jesus. Because I feel seen. You get this respectfully. I feel judged. I feel because
don't feel judged.
No. I'm joking in the thing of when you have thoughts and you think things internally and never really articulated them to anyone, to have someone come and be seen. So on the judge part, you get this because I know some of the stuff that you're talking about, and I've told myself it's because, and it partially the team, the not complete team that I want. Those that are involved now are doing all that they can with where I can afford and pay them because they're valuable and do of that. But I sometimes sit and just feel when you talked about the paralysis, like, yeah, we need to go break bread. And of course my treat. Because this there are so many people. Okay, if you don't mind, before we get ready to go, I want to just share some comments with you. Clifton Breathwaite shared the beginning of summer was my first time going to therapy, and I haven't stopped 1 week since. It's been the best decision I've ever made. Shout out to DP. Dante Patterson is on, who I'm sure you know. He's listening as well. DJ Mastermind said we need more Black designers decor in the market, but on a professional level. But then he goes on to say also agents are needed, maybe that can help with ADHD. AI agents are needed, maybe that can help with ADHD. I wonder. And then also over on Facebook, there are all type of affirmations. Laney, wow, this is so informative. I was paralyzed and didn't know it. This makes sense. Dina, who's a creative and does a lot. There's, I'm stuttering, so that says something. Ieasha.
Yes.
I knew with
we
timing.
need some circles. We need like some circles. And we just need to normalize this. We know there is a need and there is no reason to suffer in silence, right? The more we talk about it, the stronger we become and we can hold each other accountable. Like body doubling, we get more done when we're working with someone else. It's called body doubling. It's like there's so much to learn, there's so much to know. And the more you know about yourself, the better it is. You will move mountains. You will move mountains. That does not mean it's in the absence of struggle, right? God never promised that. It just becomes easier and you accept yourself more and you lean more into that instead of being perfect, right? Pushing myself to even speak, to say yes, to even do the interview or all the interviews that I've been doing. I've played small before, right? Because of everything you tell yourself, right? But, I felt like I was disappointing God. So I vowed to work on myself for the rest of my life as long as I'm here, because it's a forever journey, and help whoever else I can along the way.
Oh my God, if I can help somebody as I pass along my way, then my living will not be in vain. Oh my God, Ieasha, I had expectations. I knew that there would be nuggets. I knew there would be gems. Yeah, you exceeded expectations.
Thank you.
For me, the audience, I know they fine. I love y'all, but
Mhm.
Daniel Laurent is over. Boundaries or no work on Sundays. I'm working on that one. And so we were talking about non-negotiables. That's
Yeah.
one that he's working on. Living the Truth, which is a young lady who's had to endure a lot. Former BPD officer and not treated right.
Mm.
Yes, we need supportive circles. She helped me. So you may know her. She helped me with my dad's homegoing service. I'm proud. So I
Mm.
this officer Brenda James,
Yes.
who
Yes.
has I don't know if there's any kin.
That's my, yes, that's my family.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay,
So my
it
sister.
just literally was clicking like right at the same time, and so
Yes.
so you're familiar with
Yes.
with what she's dealt.
Yes.
It's I want to. Oh God. So up until this, I'm trying to figure out where to go in the end so we can let you go. A couple of things. One is where with your, because I also one of your non-negotiables is your boundaries. And so if where people want to follow, hold on. So we talk about some of the strong-willed in your family. Who have I known the longest? I think Shamika I've known the longest.
My
Then
sister.
Muffin, yep. And then Muffin, who we just want to name in her transition. She's an ancestor now,
Mhm.
probably one of the most getting on Jesus' nerves. Look, I need kind of but we just want to name that and it that yeah, she was a wonderful woman and loved her family. And talk about being a creative. I now so I remember them when my sisters in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I remember Shamika.
Yes.
And now I know about I don't want to mess the name up. Jesus Lord, what's the name of the group?
Unknown Hype.
Major Hype?
Yeah, Major Hype, but the dance company is Unknown Hype. Hmm.
Unknown Hype.
Yeah.
I now see
That's
when
her
you talk
son.
about
The daughter.
yeah,
Mhm.
Kai. But I now see the pendulum from we know how Shamika was in high school to what she came and evolved into with her son and the lake. All right.
Yeah.
Again, you
Yes.
see my brain, all
Yeah. I
these
come from a family of entrepreneurs. I do.
yes, all of them. So this one where I was getting to when you talking about strong will, I got to give this brother credit because when I was with Menino's office, he was cutting my hair.
Hmm.
When I tell you that me and Poochie would that barber shop would be lit. Because I had my city hall perspective, and Pookie would, and so he's been an influence on some of my politics.
Good.
But he's in the room as well. And there's when you get a chance, just go back and look. But I wanted to ask how can folks reach, follow if some people are thinking about the industry? That is, and then let me tell y'all something that is serious. Don't if you're not serious, don't
Right.
waste this young lady's
Right.
time because she's gonna ask.
Yes, there's a whole intake process before I accept people. But if you're looking to book me for an event or book a coaching session, you can go on my website, www.endlessflairevents.com. Email me info@endlessflairevents.com and on all social platforms, Endless Flair. And slide in my DMs if it's on Instagram. So I'm hardly on Facebook. I know I need to be on there more, but slide in my DM if you have any questions. I'm totally open to answering any questions about ADHD, mental health, or just being a sounding board for people.
Now, for you brothers, hold on. For
Oh,
you brothers that are watching, hold on. Let me hold on. She gonna get me. I'm gonna mute her. For you brothers that are watching and whatnot, and may watch an after watch or see the clips or whatever, mental health. Sorry. Now we'll take you off.
I have that issue.
Ahead,
I have that issue. I'm well respected by men, women. I honestly do not deal with, I mean, I'm grateful. I don't deal with what a lot of other women deal with. Men tend to be very respectful with me. So
Because you what you call it? They know. So Ieasha, what's next for you? I know there's an event where you're being honored next week.
I
Um,
am. Well, Endless Flair is expanding. I am hiring some people. Like, we talked about hiring people on the back end and adding another component to my business because I learned a lot over the last 3 years, something that I didn't want in my business before that I do believe is important now. So I'm adding to my team. And I am accepting an award next week for Boston Arts Academy Foundation. I have received the Visionary Award this year. I am also doing the design. This is my second year designing, but seeding into Boston Arts Academy means a lot to me because one, I'm a creative, and the talent that is coming out of that school. I mean, I've been speechless every time I've seen them perform, and I've done tours. So I will forever, even if I'm not designing, I will forever seed into that school and that foundation. But if you are free next week, please come. It's at MGM Music Hall in Fenway next Thursday. I will be there. I would love to see you and just us continuously pouring into the arts. That would be great.
Oh man, you poured into me today. I got to get up and do some things, but I'm going to, one of my non-negotiables that I'm trying to do better is a half an hour, 20 minutes to a half an hour post a show to just sit. And I think I got to sit with what came out of today and let that marinate. This is one of the episodes I'm probably going to, I don't watch my episodes, that I'm going to go back and watch because, Ieasha, I knew, well, I had an idea. But and they're going to talk about the way I say idea. But
Fine.
this was amazing, right on time for me, especially with what's coming up tomorrow. Reflective, quote unquote unofficial anniversary time. But this I'm going out this fourth quarter with a better mindset thanks to today's episode for getting ready for first quarter next year.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We like to say, oh, I'm doing this small thing or my small business or small. I don't like the word small. Everything is big.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
to do something for 5 years, regardless what that looked like, that, the ebbs and flows, you're here and you're showing up and you're doing it. And I know it takes a lot to do that, to still just show up and do it consistently. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All the things that are happening to and for you.
Ieasha, thank you. Thank you. I want to give you some time to reset and get on with the day. So thank you for being here. Know that we're about to blow up social media a little bit because there's so many gems I'm about to clip up out of here and post because people they need to see it. And I just wanted to also name the love that you shared and affirmed with Erin because yesterday I had Jamal Werner and he said the words, James, I love you. A black man to a black man. And then I just saw you, a black woman to a black woman, affirming and sharing love. And we need more of that,
Yes.
as well. So anyway, we'll be in a whole nother space.
Right, we will.
So I'm going to get off of here.
Thank you.
Non-negotiable. She going to get out of here. I appreciate you so much. And we'll talk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good
I hope, I put her out too soon. I hope you all really enjoyed Ieasha today and gained something from what it was that she had to say. And Brother Stan, I'm a little behind with some stuff, but I owe you some info for tomorrow. Just please be patient. You learned why today I'm a little bit slow. So I owe you some information, man, to get you ready for tomorrow. All right, we're going to get ready to wrap up. Sister Charlotte, I see you jumping back and forth. And Brenda James, thank you for being on when you pop in. Renasia, good to see you in the room. I can't get into naming everybody that's on today, but definitely support this young woman and follow her. Somebody on LinkedIn said, my business is micro big. I love that. We're going to get ready to go. I'm going to take a quick break and share something with you. A couple of things to keep in mind is one, voter registration is open until October 25th. And also we want to share this information with you just about there is still an at-large race. So we're going to talk a little bit about our guests tomorrow in a couple of seconds, but there is an at-large race to which we need to still pay attention. So please, as we take this brief break, we'll be back with you in just a couple of seconds.
Boston's future hangs in the balance. On one side, developers and big business pull for profit. On the other, the working families of Boston fight for their homes, their neighborhoods, their lives. This isn't just about buildings. It's about who gets to call Boston home. Vote for the city councilors who stand with you. Fight for Boston.
Hi, my name is Malia Lazu, and I am chair of the We Are Different IE PAC. The We Are Different IE PAC approved and paid for this message.
So we wanted to remind you that voter registration is open until October 25th, and election day is on November 9th, the next election. So please keep that in mind. I think that's it for me. That somebody is Tyson. Which Tyson? I don't know which Tyson that is, but Tyson over on LinkedIn. For some reason, it's not showing the name, but good to see you in the room, brother. Say his name. Say his name. Pause. No, so I'm messing. I just had to. All right. November 4th. Thank you, Cliff. Is the election day. October 25th is the last day to register, and November 4th is the next election day. So please remember and consider voting for the at-large race for city councilors that you know will continue to keep Boston moving forward progressively and don't have track records of being leaning, towards some racist and particular ideologies. With that being said, we want to remind you of a couple of things. One thing is tomorrow morning, everyone, whoa boy, we are beginning the day at 8:30 a.m. We're going to talk with a good brother Craig, Aaron Martin, about Black Joy. And at 9 a.m., we're going to talk with Mayor Wu for her monthly appearance. And at 9:30 a.m., we're going to talk with Patrina, I call her Trina, Martin Sherry, about an event that is amplifying the voices of the re-entry community. And so tomorrow we are literally here for an extra large cup of Java for 2 hours, 8:30 to 9 to 9:30, and 9:30 to about maybe 9:45, 10. But please plan to join us tomorrow morning. We are going to speak with Mayor Wu about a few topics. One of them is which, and I just want to name this real quick with some sensitivity. We are aware that over the last 2 weeks, 3 women have been assaulted with firearms. And the one most recently yesterday, my understanding was just a couple of years short of being officially a senior citizen. No program, no elected official can one, teach the value of life, and two, we have to figure out a way to empower brothers that have influence on the street to systematically, to collaboratively be able to use that influence to talk to some of these, not just young men, but some of their peers, 35, 40, 45 years old. So I just wanted to name that. The mother who I will refer to yesterday did suffer demise. The other young lady is fighting. I understand minute by minute with her. And I'm not clear on the impact of the young lady who was assaulted by a firearm in Orchard Gardens a couple of weeks ago. I'm not aware of her status, but there's some things I'm working on in the background that are atypical, but I also want to level set, and Brother Jamal said this yesterday, that there is this, messaging, and where there are quote unquote numbers, we are lower in numbers in comparison. Past years, I shared the numbers, factual numbers, a couple of weeks ago. But Jamal said something similar to what I'm about to say, that if there's one, then we're not safe. And where there is 1 and 2 and 3, still typically, for the most part, happen to be in certain areas and pockets in Boston. And so we're going to speak with the mayor about that. We're also going to speak with her about the incident that was floating around social media where a BPD officer, I'll say allegedly, assaulted some young people physically and dragged them. And so all of that it's all correlated. So we're going to speak with her about that. And we'll close out with Trina Martin Sherry around the reentry event that they're doing, I believe, this weekend or next week. So thank you all for being with us today. We will again be here tomorrow. I'm asking everyone, please do me a favor. Do not text, do not call me for any details of anything for tomorrow. It is on social media. I'll put the link here. Again, I will also say that I suggest that if you have not pre-registered, to do it, because if you show up and you have not pre-registered, you will be put on a waiting list, and then we'll need to wait for a certain period of time before you will get. Jesus Lord, them numbers jumped up a lot in the past. So yeah, I encourage you to go ahead and register, because I just looked at the numbers. Okay, hold on. Where am I? Okay, there we go. What am I doing? Link, Museum of Science. Here is the link for the event. All right. You can sign up there. And phones on DXZ except for Mama, Jay, Aaron, and Anthony. Mama Jay, Aaron, and Anthony. Yes. So my phone is going to be on D&D. The numbers of the invitations, Miss Teresa. I just looked at the who's now. That's not the number I saw. Is not. I'll get the next dump sheet from the museum, but the last number I got from the museum, it was 173. Seating is only at 150. So, and you know that the decrement and the I forgot what the word is called, the attrition of registration versus people show up. It was interesting. All that to say that doors open at 7. Do your best to get there close to 7. Preferably, unless it's unavoidable when you're on public transportation and whatnot, 7. We're going to start at 7:30. We will give out the awards. Then we're going to have a conversation with Nia Grace called What's in the Cup. That's going to be a very interesting interview. I can already tell. And then after that, we are going to party. We're going to let we're going to let Jeff 2 times loose. We've curated one special libation, and we've also curated a special mocktail. Now, the mocktail is for free. They've already paid for it. Thank you, Museum of Science. But the mocktail and other options at the bar, you will be required to present an ID, because this is an 18+ event. No children are allowed. No children are allowed. No children are allowed. We will have very light refreshments. Light refreshments. And so if after work you come in and you want to grab a little something, we encourage you to, because we will have very light refreshments. I believe that is it. And again, for those that are wondering, red, black, and white, if you can or able, sneaker ball-ish attire, and back into what's real for you. For me, it's your presence. Yes. Aaron, I do have to be at the museum to set up tech. That's it. But I will do my best to stay out your way. I'm sure we'll talk sometime later today. I owe the museum a bunch of stuff that I have to get to them. So with that being said, let me get off of here. Union Capital members, guess what? It's 11:03. You all get a 90-minute point reward today for watching Java with Jimmy. So that's it for me. Tomorrow morning, the commercial. Before we go, and I hope he's still in here. Milton, are you still here? Somebody text Milton. I'm going to tell him right now to make sure he jump on so he can hear this, because it is hold on. I need to make sure he hears this. If you're watching for the first time, we do this. We do real stuff all the time on here. Milagro, you're good, and I'm glad you're coming. I'm trying to wait to see confirmation if he's still on. Brother Milton, a adopted son within the Java Cafe. Very quickly, him and my mother, they inbox, they're in touch. He's already got something up his sleeve tomorrow for the mother's board. Smiley, what's up, brother? And Christina Melendez, good to see you in the room, both of y'all. What was I going to say? It is a king's birthday. I am honored that tomorrow we will also honor him and Mario and others for the work that they did around to the Junto, as well as the 3 block parties that they did a few weeks ago was a part of that. So, Sharon, if y'all want to pay, if y'all want it ticketed and dinner, y'all can pay. No, I wasn't going into debt. Nope, not at all. But to Brother Milton, sir, a happy born day to you. May this be the best year of your life. And every year following get better and better. Thank you for your contribution to community. And thank you for everything that you have done and accomplished, for being an author, for being a dad. Thank you, brother. Thank you for all that you do. And I will, I haven't seen him comment, so he probably had to dip out and do birthday tings. But you all please tag him and blow up. Go on his page, go and blow him up for his birthday. So, yes. And to Milagro, yep, light refreshments means, yeah. All right, folks, that's it for me. But again, I cannot reiterate enough. I'm not responding to things tomorrow unless it is tight from the team. So please don't. It happens. It's slowed down a lot, but y'all, to Aisha's point, day of, that is the worst day to ask me and bother me about anything. I want to make sure that we have a great event, that you all enjoy yourselves. So I need to stay focused. All right. So thank you all for that and for being here today. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8. And I'm getting in tomorrow's early. And then I got to do a 2-hour show tomorrow. So please, thank you. Because I'm stepping more into my non-negotiables. Right. Thank you. Miss T, I'll check in with you shortly around some things. All right, everybody.